दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Express Varanasi Station, Netaji Bhavan.
Hello and welcome to Voltas Presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur, with me Adam Gilchrist and Shaun Pollock. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good evening.
You're right, mate.
Have you recovered from the onslaught of the teenager last night?
No, I'm still recovering from the fact that I'm the oldest.
To hit
He's
a
the
century.
youngest. I'm the oldest. He's made me feel like a grandfather. But fascinating, the reaction. We spoke about the headlines it will create, how far it'll travel. I turn my phone on in the morning from Australia, text messages from people that typically may not even watch cricket, let alone the IPL, into the early hours of the morning, but they're aware of it. They're aware of it. It creates headlines. This is the stuff of dreams.
If he doubled his age and then added on 10 years, you'd get to when Gilly got to 100. If you doubled his age to 28,
right.
added on another
You're
10.
right, actually.
11 years.
11 years.
11. So
Oh,
pretty
it was
much.
39 that you got it.
Hang on. So almost tripled his age then.
Almost.
Thanks, guys. That's good. Anyway,
If
good
you,
catching
I
up.
think that hurts even more.
Yeah.
If you tripled his age and then deducted 2.5 years, you'd get to it. But one second, hang on. I just want to say that I think it's tougher to hit 100 in the IPL at 39 plus
Yeah, it is.
than at 14.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sure.
Isn't it?
No, we spoke last night about what we were doing when we were 14, and it wasn't hitting hundreds in the toughest.
And also you got someone like a Fuff who's at 40. And
Yeah.
So they still kind of doing it. The rarity of having a 14
You
year.
might do it tonight, Faf.
Yeah, there we go.
I saw a very cool.
The fact that we've discussed it.
I hope
A bit
so.
like the joy factor question yesterday, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I saw a very funny joke or a meme online where there's a teenager who's going out to party and he's telling his dad that I'm going to my friend's house to party. And he looks at him and says, look at Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Look what he's doing at 14 and what are you doing with your life? So he turns to his father and says, look at MS Dhoni, what he's doing at 43 and what you're doing with your life.
That's good.
It's a father-son difference, right? So we've got, a young cool guy and an older cool guy all playing in the same tournament. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I think we've just seen all the memes, all the jokes, all the gifs, all the appreciation, the fascination, the awe of what Vaibhav Suryavanshi has done. And he also tweeted this morning, and I think he also was on social media for about 30 minutes because that's all his parents allow him.
It's a screen time set.
That's all the screen time he's allowed. And then he had to go back and do his holiday homework and prepare for his exams and then go for training. So, yeah, he's got... Imagine having Rahul Dravid as a coach because he's the closest that comes to a teacher in the cricket world, doesn't
Yeah, or that father figure, that wise old, calm father figure. But even his reaction, particularly on the 100, the scoring of the 100, the coach Dravid in the dugout there, like that really, whether it's determined or appreciative or assured, like show of strength. Like he was animated more than Rahul Dravid ever
True.
really is.
I've only seen him animated twice. One was at the Wankhede when he threw his cap down.
Yeah.
When Rajasthan Royals and the game was with Mumbai, Aditya Tare, if you remember, had made them qualify over Rajasthan. It's a very famous incident, I think about 10 years ago. And Rahul Dravid as the coach, again, he was with Rajasthan that time, just picked up and threw his cap down. And I remember ribbing him about it later, saying, tell me honestly, how many times did you apologize to the cap? For throwing it on the ground like that. And yesterday, when he made that miraculous recovery, you've
How
seen...
old are Rahul Dravid's kids?
his son's playing cricket now. I think his son is older than Vaibhav.
That's what I was trying to think.
He's got two sons. And I think Sumit, I could be wrong here, but I think he's about 16, 17. So he's playing junior cricket now. Could be 19, is he? Yeah, so his kid's 19. So he
Old
knows,
fella.
So he thinks he knows a thing or two about that. But he made a miraculous recovery. He got up from his wheelchair and started clapping. Reminded me of Steve Martin in, remember Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Oh, yeah.
The film where he has a miraculous recovery. So it just reminded me of that scene. Well, anyway, as we said yesterday, this innings that we saw will be talked about for season after season, for year after, for decades, I guess, on now. A bit like how Chris Gale's knock of 175 is spoken about, because we really saw something special from a guy who will not be introduced to a razor for another couple of years. Right? Here he is, ripping bowlers to shreds, much like a razor blade. All right, let's talk about today's game. Today is Delhi playing Calcutta. This is happening in Delhi, of course. And they have won the toss. The home team has won the toss and decided to put the Knight Riders in to bat, which is interesting. And they were talking about this pitch being slightly holding up a little bit, which in Delhi means what, 200?
Yeah, but I think maybe on the back of the last game that they played there, where RCB were, 26 for 3?
Yeah.
And then they were still able to easily kind of just knock it off. They might think, oh, it seems to be getting a lot easier to bat later on, maybe with a little bit of dew. So that might be the thinking.
Yeah. It's an interesting phase in this tournament right now, because there's this Delhi team which till a couple of weeks ago was just, oh my God, they're blazing, they can't lose anything. I think they'd won, 5 out of 5? I think they'd won their first 5 straight. And then they've had these losses, one to Mumbai, then one to Bangalore, and those two would have hurt them. So I'm going right now to, as we know, that Shaun Pollock is the proprietor of a website called scenarios.com, right? So we will leave him with scenarios.com, and please guide us through what exactly can happen and why the Knight Riders fan should not be despondent and why the Delhi fan should not be too excited, because where were we at this stage last year?
Exactly. We have to look back at the past to create these scenarios for you to understand. So people think when you talk about, oh, they're not out of it, they've still got a hope. Have a look at Bangalore.
This is last year after game 47. So we're going back exactly a year ago at this stage.
10 games completed, 6 points on the board. Who ended up being in the top 4?
Oh, Bengaluru.
Exactly.
Love you to bits and pieces.
So don't give up on your team just yet.
And to that point, it's a good one. Look at the top line. Who just scraped in to the finals? Rajasthan.
Yes.
After 9 games, a game in hand on the bottom team, and Rajasthan just scraped into that final 4. So a lot can happen.
Exactly.
Tell us if you could just talk about it on a psychological, sociological level, because you two have been in these situations. It's 14 games. It's only 2 months. But explain to us how it can feel like such a long time and how turnarounds like this, well, upward shift and downturns can happen from your experience.
Yeah, I think when you're in the camps and you have different seasons, the hard seasons are hard. It's long and you're kind of trying to keep coming up with the right solutions. When you're playing wonderfully well, it's bliss. You give people days off. You don't go to practice as much. Everyone's happy. You don't change much. No big team meetings because the teams don't change. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle if they're not going according to plan. And then you have to become that spin doctor as a management. You know, when you're sitting with 6 points, you have to now create this belief that, guys, look at RCB last year.
Yeah.
If we can just find the team combination, if we just get some momentum going our way, you just never know. And even if you aren't feeling it, you've got to try and find a way where you can get them up and ready for the contests that are to come.
Yeah, a win, I've said this often, I said it this time last year, a win in the IPL buys you 3 days happiness.
Yeah.
and life's good. And then you hope you go again. If you get 2 in a row, that's almost a week. That's a happy franchise and everyone, the momentum's great. But coaches and captains, I think, their greatest asset, particularly in these tournaments, not so much international cricket where it's a marathon, not a sprint like this in regards to the format and even the tournament length, but you've got to be a storyteller. You've got to know how to emotionally engage with your unit, that it becomes even more important when you have lost a few games, because we look at the teams at the start of every tournament, talent on paper. There's a lot of cancelling out from one team. You know, that group cancel out that. So the talent levels are very, very minor. Differentiation, very minor.
That's why I say you've got to be a spin doctor, because you've got to be able to put a positive spin on it all the time.
True, sure.
Like find a way, find a path.
But now explain the other side to me, right? When a downturn happens, when there's a team like Rajasthan where you see they've won 9 out of 10, and you don't think you're on the home stretch, you think you're home when that happens. And then you just start losing. Is that then tougher to manage, even tougher to manage than a bad start, which, you could kind of lift up, but when everything's going right and then suddenly, where's the floor?
Yeah, but that's where the desperation to get those just few points to make sure you've qualified comes to the party, and you maybe start to panic just a little bit because it's kind of looked rosy. Yeah. You haven't been put under much pressure. Everything's gone according to plan. And if we get to 16, we're probably through. And then you get so close, and then it's like, okay, well, let's just do that game. And then we lose one, and you lose another, and you think, well, are we going to get there? And is our net run rate good enough? So, and then also the importance of finishing 1 and 2 is so vital because you get that second bite of the cherry. And you can get a little bit panicky about, we're desperate just to, let's make sure we qualify. Then we can have a deep breath. We can have a few weeks where we can just chill out a little bit and then concentrate for the playoffs. So it can get a bit nervy at the back end.
But absolutely, yeah. So there's a big picture at play.
Yeah.
And my recollection of being and trying to lead a collective group who have come together for this unique 8-week period, and that in all likelihood you'll never be together as a unit again.
Yeah.
Even the next year, even if you win the title, there will be 1 or 2 changes. So I used to really like identifying that and try to make it feel like it's a special environment that no one else will ever know what we're about to go on this journey. But the same could be said for a test team or an international. At the end of the day, the run of 9 wins in a row or 9 losses or win-loss, whatever, just the very next ball is the only ball that matters in your life.
I love it.
It's all that matters, no matter what position you're in on that ladder.
Yeah.
So something maybe in Rajasthan when they were in that position last year, 9 wins, 9 games, 16 points, maybe somewhere they just lost that inner focus right on that next ball.
Yeah.
So this is the current points table.
Yeah.
So Chennai, well, they're in trouble. But
let's talk about KKR and Delhi playing today.
Yeah, of course. So, I'm just saying, you look down the bottom, can they all climb up? But the 2 lit up there, they're still both in the contest. But you can look at that table and go, what if we just get those 2 wins, don't look at that. The very first ball of this game is the only ball that matters to anyone in either of those 2 teams. Make it the most important ball of your life.
The other thing I'll say is also that you start checking fixtures. When you're desperate to get in, you start to, who's
Big
playing
time.
who? Yeah. Who's going to cancel out who can maybe beat them? And then also, you look at the bottom of the thing, we talk about Chennai. What have we already heard from them? Let's try and get our team settled for next year.
Yeah.
Why? You've got to put a positive spin on it.
Correct.
That's how it works.
Yeah. As did Daniel Vittori say we could do what RCB did, or did Stephen Fleming say that? One of them said it about their team. Both have actually said it.
Yeah.
Now, see, the thing is that for many years, Mumbai's turnaround, the one where they won the tournament eventually, when they had lost the first 5 and then won everything after that, that was what was the inspirational story that everyone was referring to when you lost games in a row. Now, recency bias, because RCB did it last year, that story, MI has been replaced by RCB and say, they did 6 in a row, we can do it as well. Yeah. So that's it. You just need to find something that people can just kind of resonate with, your players can resonate with, and just go for it. Yeah. I think the split point of the rain from their last game, this is going to come into play as well. It always does. This odd number that KKR is sitting on now and Punjab is sitting on now.
But KKR have got a reference point. 2014, they won 9 on the bounce.
There you go. They did that as well.
So they've actually got a personal reference point rather than looking at the other teams.
Yeah, and there's a few in there who were there. I think Sunil Narine was definitely there. I think him and Russell have been playing for KKR ever since Vaibhav Suryavanshi was born. Which is not that long ago. But anyway, let's see the team that they are playing today. They're going to be batting first, the Knight Riders. Let's see if they made any changes in their team. There's one, Sakaria, who came in for the last game, is out, and Anukul Roy, is in. So they're still going with Robman Powell. There's no Ramandeep, remember. That is somebody they really believed in. They retained him, right? Ramandeep was retained. So they've obviously, after those couple of chases that have not gone right, I guess they've gone off him. They've got Robman Powell in there. So Cricbuzz, Narine at the top. We'll talk about Narine in just a second. Ajinkya Rahane, 3, Venkatesh Iyer, Rinku Singh, Angrish Raghuvanshi, Russell, Powell.
Impact sub?
Impact sub, which bowler will come in? Vaibhav Arora.
Yeah, probably Roy, yeah.
Yeah, they need. They're giving him the new ball, so he's going to
And
come.
Manish Pandey is there just in case.
Just in case they need a ninth batter?
Yeah.
Stop it.
In case
Five
they're
for
60
20.
for 6, yeah.
Stop it. I think they anyway playing a batter too much. Imagine Rodman Powell walking out at number 8. He's 6 at worst, right? He
Yeah.
walks out there at number 8.
Is he down at 8?
Yeah, he's at 8. He's the 8th batter. If you look at that now, Russell's at 7. There you go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Rodman Powell's at 8. So that is a solid batting line. I remember they had 8 batters against Punjab when they didn't chase 111.
Yep.
They had 9 batters in their game in the next game.
Against Punjab, where they didn't get to bat.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Punjab they had 8. The one before they had 9. I'm missing GT, I think. Yeah. GT they had 9. So, and again, they didn't chase that as well. So sometimes I don't know. I want you to tell me, can it be a problem of plenty? Like you have, Rodman Powell is not a number 8 batter. None of those are number 8 batters. So you will always have somebody who's, or multiple people who are playing out of position.
So they clearly feel like they've got a number of bowling options. So that's the bat first team, obviously, and they can bring in Aurora. So they feel like they've got a number of bowling options. So why not carry the extra batter just to have the firepower in case you need it?
Fair.
That's what's the other option? Why not?
Why not?
In the day and age of the impact player, impact sub, just roll with it, and I would say that there may be an argument that a batter like, in this example, Rodman Powell, what psychologically he's defeated already. Is he going to have much of an impact? Knowing at best he's going in right at the back end.
In trouble.
Yeah, either in trouble or going in for 3 balls or 5 balls if it's going well. So what's the value? But you've got the versatility of injecting your bowler into the second half of the game. So
Mumbai are very similar, aren't they? I mean, they bat way down there and they've got all these different bowling options. The only thing I'm trying to think of is sometimes as players take the responsibility. At the top of the order, you kind of looked at, we've got so many. Wow, let's go and have a whack. Where I know it's a T20, but sometimes you want to, especially your management would want you just to kind of bat for a period of time and don't think that we've got so many more guys to come. When you get your chance, just take the responsibility.
Yeah, I'm interested in, people might think I'm a rabble-rouser, I'm saying don't play 8 batters. No, I'm just interested to know psychologically how it works for players, because at the same time when Rajasthan only plays 6 batters, I always give the Knight Riders and the Bangalore example, saying they're playing 8, why are you only playing 6? So again, I don't think anything is right or wrong. I guess if you're winning, you can say that that's the right choice. If you're not, it's wrong. But the one thing that does pop into mind, because it's come up for discussion with KKR, is that you feel like the batters are maybe just playing out of position. And that can happen when, Russell comes out to bat at number 7.
It's a great luxury to have. I mean, we had some South African sides that I played in where we would maybe have, say, Bouch, Lance, myself, Nicky Boyer, who could all contribute and would go down to 9. And it's a great position to be in. So if they've got that, if they can still get their right bowling options, if there was someone on the outside sitting where you think, gee, he should be playing because he can have a massive impact with the ball, and you've got 9 batters, but you're still leaving him out, then I'd have an issue.
Then it's a problem. You're right. Okay, that's a great answer then. That means they still have their bowling options.
Yeah.
Still got their bowling options. And take it from the perspective of the opponent. You get them 4 down. Yeah, they're in trouble. Hui beauty, but
Still to come,
there is still more firepower there.
Yeah.
And in a short space of time, Rodman Powell can flip it.
Yeah, great point. Let's see who Delhi is putting on the park today. They have, this is their bowling team, and their bowling has been good. It's a good bowling side in terms of a unit. They've got Chamira, who came in, I think, the last game or the one before that. So they've had Chamira now. There's Mukesh.
Kept Mukesh.
Starc. Sorry?
Kept Mukesh.
Yeah,
we were
kept
maybe
Mukesh.
thinking they could.
Paulie was not happy with what Mukesh was doing in the
we'll
previous
give him
game.
another go. We'll give him another go.
Okay, done. There's Mitchell Starc there, of course, Vipraj Nigam, can spin, Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel. So they've got their 6 proper bowling options as well. And they'll get a batter in, and that batter looks like will be... Bring it. Ashutosh, I guess. Yeah, because they've got they had the 4 aeroplanes, right?
Yeah,
So they can
there's 4.
pretty much just get in Ashutosh or Samir Rizvi. I think they'll get in Ashutosh. He has at least shown them a sort of bright spark in one game. All right, the interesting story, and we always like to find stories within stories. Mitchell Starc playing against his former team, who he did so well with, took them to the final, won it for them. He was brilliant in the final, and is not in the team. It's got to pinch you a little bit, right? It's got.
How well did he do? They won the title.
Yeah, he was great in the playoffs.
He was great at the business end.
Yeah.
I'm not discounting his value at all, but over the course of the season, it got to a point where they left him out, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think
his start was not good.
He didn't start well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't
But
start.
as you say, in the crunch games,
No doubt about
back
he
in, yeah.
is world class, and I
Yeah.
love him. I've obviously followed him closely, but yeah, maybe that came into the mindset as to whether they retain him or not, and they obviously didn't, and now they come up against him, and they will be talking a lot about him. He'll take up a lot of time in that bowlers meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the batters meeting, talking
meeting,
about
yeah.
the bowlers for sure.
Yeah. What does he do? Right? I mean, he bowled that brilliant super over the other day, right? What, for you, what is the quality there? What is the execution of skills you see that makes him a good T20 bowler?
So he reminds me, it's obviously not the similar kind of bowler, but he reminds me of the skills that Malinga used to bring to the party. And Mali, with that new ball, used to shape it sweetly. I mean, we had plans where he'd clean up Gale, he'd clean up Warner with the brand new ball, still bowling Yorkers because of the movement he got through the air. Now, that's exactly what Starc can bring. And I haven't seen enough of that from him in the last few games. Initially in the tournament, brilliant. And then he's got that ability. If you bring him on for an over in the middle, he can G people up, so new batters to the crease. He can get a good bouncer through there. And then he's got a very good Yorker, which is what you need at the back end. So he kind of ticks the first power play. You can use him to maybe break a partnership in the middle, and then he can clean up and give you a really good job. So that's why he's so valuable to teams.
As a batter, there's something when I'm watching, I feel like his action itself is daunting for a batter because he runs in fast. The jump is high. He's so tall anyway. You feel like he's releasing the ball from the first floor, right? When you're on the ground floor. Does that come into play as well? And he can take your toes out. He can swing the ball. But does the height and the action add a little bit to the intimidation factor?
Oh, absolutely. Every time there's a tall, aggressive fast bowler coming in, that physicality is palpable. You can see it and feel it. But I think your point about his action is a really pertinent one. Mitchell Starc is a guy that you can almost tell through body language, through the result of a delivery, how he's feeling and how he reacts to an outcome. He does get very technical about the release, about the foot. If he gets no balled or foot marks, he often, even in long form cricket, will be back scratching around. He likes things to just be feeling perfect, and you can often tell by his body language whether it is or not. But what I love about him in this format, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, Polly, having not played the amount of T20 cricket that the guys are playing now, but I love his ability that he may, like the point I made last year, he didn't have the start. He was going with all the profile being the highest paid overseas at the time, he went for 40, 50 and over his spell. But when the big moments turn up, he's a banker. There's no doubt about it. And the psychology of that. Polly, let's say 50 over cricket, if you have a bad day where someone gets a hold of you, which was not often your not so good day weren't days where that you went for 70 off 10 or something like that. But the mindset, the composure to come back next game. Are you nervous at the top of your mark? Are you thinking about that last result? Or is it the experience of Mitchell Starc going back to the 2015 World Cup final with Brendan McCullum?
Jeez, can't forget that ball.
Yeah, like that is an iconic moment in Australian cricket history, World Cup history. Do you just draw on those experiences? Is that in his favour so powerfully?
Yeah, I think what you try and do is you try and break it down. Your 4 overs are often in different roles.
Yeah.
So you break it down and say, hey, my first 2 overs were great, actually. I got the ball to shape. I created opportunities. There were a few edges. We could have picked up a wicket. It was when I came back that I wasn't so clever. I leaked too many. I didn't hit that right. Or it might be the other way. I didn't start great, but I really came back late. I think they're so much better at doing it now. I mean, even when the fact that they can come for 1 over spells. I mean, that would blow our mind. I was only getting into my spell after 6 balls. So I think that's the challenge for them. I think also if the history of the IPL, what you kind of work out is often those first 2 or 3 weeks, bowlers have kind of forgotten how to do it, and they have to get back on the horse and kind of work things out for themselves again. Because what are the variations? When do I use them? What's the timing of it? What am I going to do in this spell, that spell? Whereas as a batter, you kind of walk in, you know what you're going to do. You're going to whack it. And so it's easier for them to start the tournament, but you often see the bowlers kind of start to work out their plans, feel comfortable about disappearing every once in a while. It doesn't feel like a personal attack on you that you've gone for 4-6-4, and you start to come to terms. So we often see them starting to find themselves in their form and the back end of the tournament. And I think that's what he did last year. That was impressed by. I think he hit the ground running this year, and maybe it's just been a little bit of a jolt that things haven't gone according to plan now. But I would, if I was in that camp now, I'd say, okay, well, let's just work it out. Come, let's get you firing at that art of starting. And then he's got that natural default thing that he kind of falls away and his wrist gets into this position. So that's why, to left-handers in particular, he bowls those gun Yorkers, everyone's saying reversing. It's not really reversing. It's almost like an Ishan Sharma's wrist position. It's just kind of being pushed in. And that's why it looks brilliant. And that's why when that game that he won, it was fantastic. But I think you just got to keep them in the position of don't get too down on yourself, because there's aspects of your game where you can win matches for us. You might win it with a new ball, and you can maybe win it with us at reverse.
I'm so glad you said that, because again, the messaging I remember saying is you could have gone for 40 in your first 3 overs, but rest assured there may be an opportunity in the last 6 balls of this game, regardless of what's happened, you could win us a game. True. Talk about retention of players. You retain a player that you hope's going to win you 3 games a year with the bat. Turn it on, get you home across the line, or with the ball. And even if you're going for 40, if you're presented with 9 off 6, like Starc was a few nights back or a week or so ago, and he nails it, gets you to a super over and then close it out.
It's such a great filter. In fact, go through all the teams and see the retentions. They almost are all retentions, are all players that management is hopeful that would win you 3 games. 3 games is a great filter. And then have a look at how many of those players have actually won 3, 2, or even 1 game, and you'll be able to tell whether they'll be around next year or not, perhaps, you know. Will they go for because retentions are expensive. And what people don't realize is that you retain a player, and nobody cares about the money you pay them. That's great. They should all earn money. But it's what it leaves you lesser for the auction. And we spoke about Rajasthan the other day. Great, fantastic, excellent, everyone should get paid. But the minute you retain 5 players, you go into the auction with less gunpowder.
With less ability to put flesh around the bones of what you've created.
Right? Because everybody else has more money, so they'll outbid whichever player you really want, because they have the ability. So I love this little dynamic of the auction of a limited purse. Anyway, we have KKR batting first. Sunil Narine, is he going to get runs today or not? Quickly, come on. Is he going to do it?
I'm just going to add a little thing to your thing. You know, you're talking about how many batters they got.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I think that's a strange decision. Because you've got enough bits and pieces to make a contribution. Back someone with proper intent and proper ability at the top. Brilliant last year, don't get me wrong. But it was a bit of a stop-fix kind of approach, and it paid off. Confident, went with it, stuck with him for the season. He didn't bat up there for the West Indies for all his career. He didn't even bat in the top 6 or 7. I just think it was a big ask to ask him to do it again. But now that I've said that, he'll probably get 100.
But that's another problem. And I'm going to leave this for the end show, because game's about to start, so we'll get to that. Because I want to ask both of you, as having been leaders, management, captains, etc., you know what a player is capable of, right? And you see a string of games where it doesn't come, right? Where do you go? Oh man, I know one more, because when he comes off, Narine can do 140 balls, right? He can do 80 in 32 balls. Where do you go? All right, we're going to end this experiment now.
So what I'll say to you about this year now, right? So he can do what Powell can do. If he comes in for 3 or 4 balls, because he can just kind of swing it as well.
Him and Powell,
But as an opposition team, if you tell me that Cricbuzz and Quinton de Kock at the top of the order, that kind of puts me a bit more in a fearful position than Narine the way he's playing now. That's just
Okay,
my
fair enough. Fair enough. I guess what Paulie is saying is when you got 8 batters, why buy a lottery ticket when you're already a billionaire? Right?
I like the way you put
That's
that.
not the way I read it, but I like it.
All right, well, they're going to be batting first, our Kolkata in Delhi. We're going to get the score guesses going. We had an absolutely rubbish day yesterday. We got nothing right. Obviously, how can you get the power play right when a 14-year-old decides that he wants to get a 200 target in 10 overs, right? You're never going to get that guess correct. But before we do that, the Joy Factor question, let's bring that on. Let's see what's happening with that today. What has Joy given us? What specifically connects Imran Tahir, Grant Elliott, Alan Mullally, and Colin de Grandhomme? Oh, I know it. I know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little hint?
Yeah, I'll tell you. They're all Aquarius.
You know your cricketers so well. All right.
We'll
Google that.
I have no idea. Absolutely the foggiest.
I do.
You know this?
Ooh.
Come on. Bali.
They all played international cricket for the country that they weren't born with.
But that's like...
But that connects
That's
those
like
four.
50 players, yeah, Paulie.
Mullally was he not born in Australia?
He was born in
Yeah.
Australia.
There's like 50
Elliott
players
was
who can
born
do
in
that.
South Africa, played for New Zealand. Grandhomme was born in Zimbabwe, played for thing, and Imran Tahir was born in Pakistan, played for South Africa.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's that list is like 50 people, right? I mean, it's also 90% of the England team.
England team, yeah.
Out of which 50% is born in
You're
South
just connecting
Africa.
those 4 individuals.
Just those 4.
Okay, next question.
Could be, I'm just saying,
Wow.
it could be. All right. They're playing in Delhi. They're saying that Akshar said it might hold up a bit, but I don't think I'm holding up my guess.
Go for it. You know what mine is.
Sorry?
You know what mine is.
Yours is 209. No. 187?
Yeah.
You're going 187.
It's got to come right for me. It's got to. I'm sticking
Okay.
with it.
Okay, broken clock, 187.
188. 188.
See? we
Best friends? Best friends?
he just couldn't go 187. He's an Australian.
That's true, he can't.
Never go
87.
187.
So he's close then. 202. Yeah, they'll get 200. No, they won't. Change my mind. 196. Look at, we take this very seriously, which is why we get it wrong. It was supposed to be a fun game when it started 6 years ago. And now look what has happened. It's just terrible. All right, just before going, quickly show you both the 11s. It's KKR batting first. So this is the team that they have. They're batting. Of course, they have one change. They've got Anukul Roy, who's come in place of Chetan Sakaria. And I can just tell you they'll get Vaibhav Arora in when they bowl. Meanwhile, the Delhi team, we'll have a look at them. And Abhishek Porel, they're saying, is the wicketkeeper. This is bizarre. We were talking about this in the green room, remember? Wow. I told you that surprising because Abhishek Porel is a full-time keeper. Why aren't they going with him? Abhishek Porel is the wicketkeeper today. I see things. All right, well, that's all we have time for. We're going to see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. So do join us then. Thank you for watching Voltas presents Cricbuzz Live. Goodbye.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction,
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Punjab Express, Varanasi Station, Netaji Bhawan.